Let's check out a couple charts. We're going to start macro with the S&P. We'll look at the NASDAQ, maybe the dollar, a little Bitcoin, a couple cryptos, and some traditional stocks that are going through a pullback right now. But first, S&P 500. I think we have safety points at 4150 and potentially right around where we are now, 45.75. I get that from these 50% points if we just pull from the top when we topped out. Really at the end of 2021. We're down all of 2022, but we bounced from there, and it looks a lot like a bull market. This upward slope right here for the first 7 months looks a lot like a bull market. Probably need a nice healthy pullback. But if you look from that top in December 2021 down to October 2022, that midpoint we had a rejection right here, and then we flip resistance into support. We have not retested this. That's why I think we could potentially pull back to 42, 41.50. But there's also another 50% mark from the top down to where we've found this support, and the 50% comes in at 45.75. So we could potentially come back and test here and just keep going from here. Now, that would be very, very bullish, but I think we can remain bullish even if we come back. I don't know how fast we'll come down or how hard we'll come down. We can come all the way back to the 4,200 to 4,150 zone and still be in a macro bull market. And that would actually probably be much healthier than just continuing to rip straight to all-time highs. So that's the S&P 500. NASDAQ is very similar. We've got that rejection here. And again, think about this. This happened in August 2022. We don't know that this is the 50% in August 2022. But after October 2022 rolls around and we end up in August of 2023, August right around the corner. So think about this. This mark happens here on August 8th, 2022. It's exactly the halfway point. It's like a hard rejection, and it ends up being the exact halfway point. We eventually hit the bottom, and now we're considering that this could potentially be support. 13.6. We haven't retested it. Again, similar to the S&P, it will probably be a lot healthier to come down and bounce, but same thing, a 50% mark between those two, and this 15.2 could actually be support. So I don't really think that will hold. I'm actually kind of hoping everything pulls back so that we don't have a massive collapse again. If we go up too strong, we're going to come down real fast. So a nice healthy correction is fine. And think about it, we are at almost 15.8 right now. I think we could come all the way down to 13.6 and still be in a bull market. The dollar, everybody says, oh, the dollar's rallying, the dollar's rallying. We're talking about this right here. And we're just forgetting about all this. And everybody says, oh, when the dollar rallies, it's bad for risk on assets. Meanwhile, all year, risk on assets have been doing strong. If it breaks something like this, and we're not too far away from it, it's not impossible, but let's break this downtrend first. So we get up above that. So that would probably put it in around 103, 104. And we're currently at 101, 102. So we're not too far off, but we got to break that line and hold above it. I actually think we need to break this 50% line at 107 before the dollar actually really looks strong. It has momentum. It's been up for the last 3 weeks, but it doesn't mean the dollar's strong. The dollar is actually quite weak over the last year. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, we can see it looks like the rally is slowing a bit. Now, obviously, if you look at the macro of it all, we are down here. So I just got done saying that the dollar hasn't rallied. The dollar is still in the middle of a downturn where we on Bitcoin have seen it find some support. So I think that 42. Some people are talking about all-time highs. I think that $42,000 is probably the max that it can do anytime soon. I'm not even saying it's going to go up to that anytime soon, but I feel like if we get a rally, that's a huge wall to get through. So don't go FOMOing in there. If you want to get in here and hope it goes that high and you're ready to sell, that would probably be a better bet. But from there, if we drill down even further, we've got our 28,280 here, which we are dangerously close to, and it kind of looks like we're trending down. If you throw on the bull market support band, we are coming right down to it. We could hold it as support, but if that falls, we usually see some downside once you get below it. Once you get above it, you have some momentum upwards, but once it gets above you, it's sort of like a ceiling. So that could definitely slow things down a bit. Also, the 200-day, similar thing. It is coming up, and Bitcoin is currently coming down. So we'll see. Those are definitely opportunities to bounce. But I have the fail safe from the current top down to the low of 15.5 that we hit in November 2022, and that brings us to this 23,575. Again, we can come down in that direction and still be bullish, but if we get rejected either here at the $28,000 mark, or if we slide below 23, if we slip below it and then come back above, I think we'll be all right. But if we go below and then get a hard rejection right in that area, that is trouble, and it could happen. It could absolutely happen. Take a look at Solana. Solana also obviously wrecked. But if you want to find a crypto that has some momentum going in the right direction, I honestly don't know if Solana will ever get past this mark of like 132 again. That could very easily be the new top for it. But that's a long way to go from where it is. So there is some current momentum. We're putting in higher weekly lows. This is on the weekly we're looking at. And if you want to look at these recent moves, we snuck above, but had a bit of a weak close, snuck above that 28 mark. And now we're kind of like bouncing around in the middle. And if you look at the new high that it set in, that $20 is probably the fail safe. So we're right in the middle of it now. If we come down lower and closer to it, and you want to set a stop loss, because if it slips below 20, I think we're going to see some downside. But the closer we get to that mark, especially if it comes down into this area, get the bounce, and then you get back above wherever you want to get in on it and give yourself a little bit of leeway. If it gets close enough, all it needs to do is, if it gets closer to $20, it has the potential to bounce back to 28, and that could be up to, let's see, it's like a 5x, potential 5x just right there if you get it close enough to that fail safe of $20. Injective, I know nothing about Injective other than it looks bullish currently. It's just been straight up, a little bit of a double top here, but there's still room to bounce back and even have a bit of a lower high. We could come up to here and get rejected and then just, go right back down to shitcoinville. But I'd say that if you look at this recent range, that it looks to have bounced. We went hard down. Let me add the volume. We had a decent, actually, the volume doesn't look as strong right here. So that could probably be a negative. But again, you could probably set a tight stop loss. And if it were to slip below that $7.64, and then you have a tight stop loss, 2-3%, and I definitely think it could get a bounce, so at least like $8.90, maybe $9. And this is just one of those coins where you don't know, like, it could run also, but I would definitely set tight stop losses if you're considering any type of small cap crypto. How about some traditional stocks? Look at Spotify. Spotify with this big old pullback. I don't know what this is about. Maybe they just had an earnings report. I don't look at that. I just look at the charts, and I use this EMA spread of the 20-week and the 10-week with a little 15 in the middle. And if you look at a lot of different places, you can see that the inverse happens when we're in a downtrend. It peaks into this channel and gets rejected, gets through it, but shortly after that, rejected, peaks its head in. So if you were shorting, could be effective. And this channel is, some people use it as a means to find value zones, and it's just ridden above the green line this whole time, and now it's shot down through it but bounced back. So right now we're in it. Could be a value opportunity. We're below this line of $54. If we get above it and then you want to set that as your stop loss, that could be a very tight stop loss. And I think if we slip below 125, that kind of shows that we're, in like sort of more of a bearish situation here. And we've got the two 50% marks here. So I think we'll see some resistance here at 154. But again, if we get above it, you can look for it to become support and use it as a stop loss, because if it slips below, then it's probably going a little bit more bearish. And definitely if it slips below 125, but there could be a lot of value to go from 125 back to where it's been at 183. Again, don't know what's going on with Spotify other than how the chart looks. Monster Beverages. Monster has been a monster. Let's shift it to the monthly. I mean, look at this. This is Monster. Is nobody talking about Monster Energy? Because it's like going completely parabolic. And it had a bit of a pullback. If we put these EMAs on it and we'll switch back to the weekly, this is more of a traditional sort of scene where you really do see it get into the channel and slip below it. But every time it's bounced out of it. And right here, it's kind of out of it now. This probably would have been a few weeks ago, probably a great time to buy. But you got to be careful of it rolling over. And it could top out at around 60, 54. But I do think it has support at 54 and 48. That is your chart check for Monday. And we will see you later this week.